Welcome to episode 045 of the Bit Beacon Broadcast. It's July 30th, 2024.
Ravenheart's here.
Kodax is here. That's me. And Ravenheart's got a little announcement for us.
Yeah, so we've been doing this podcast weekly, which has been going great. Episode 045 already.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot.
Just shy of a year we are now.
Yeah. So, I'm proud of that. I am going to step away a little bit, only because it's just such a commitment. It's, you know, you really have to be, it takes up a big chunk of your week. Preparing the episode, being here to record, it's just not conducive to making a game and having all these other ambitions and other real life responsibilities and stuff like that I'm trying to do. So I'm going to try to catch up with that stuff and maybe return more in the future. We'll see what happens. But I just want to let everybody know that I might not be here every episode moving forward, but I'm definitely still the guy who would be doing any art assets. I'll still try to contribute to writing and research. Again, it's only out of my passion for games and stuff that I want to take this step back.
Right.
So I'm still here. I'm still a part, like half of the Bit Beacon. It's just I need to, you know, I need some time. I need a little bit of.
I mean, we haven't missed a week.
Right.
I mean, a couple times we recorded back-to-back episodes, so we had something for the next
right.
week.
If we did, we had a solution.
Right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, we've put in the work every week. And, yeah, some weeks it is tougher than others.
Yeah.
And I know with your work schedule...
Yeah, that's the other thing.
It's pretty brutal.
I work nights, as people know. So that is, that's tough. Because I have to wake up, shower, come here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like with your situation, you actually get to come home and then record.
Right. It's like near the end of my day.
Right.
Yeah. Or it's like it's like going to work.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not complaining, but I do need to just kind of take this step back for a minute. Get my own stuff, you know. Like last night, for instance, I was coding on Seraphim, which I'll talk more about during my Seraphim Weekly update. And it'd be nice to continue, but I have to come record. And that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, now when you are on the podcast, you'll have more to share about Seraphim.
Yeah, that's true. It also, so when news is really big, weekly is great.
Yeah.
But when news isn't really big, like, we don't always have a whole lot to talk about, especially in the first section where we talk about what we're doing and stuff, because we're doing it every week.
Yeah.
I think me being more irregular than that, I will have more to share.
Yeah.
So
I mean, what does this mean for the podcast going forward? I'm not totally sure yet. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm still planning. I'll probably try to do a solo episode next week. Mm-hmm. It may be that we have some guests fill in. You know, if the solo thing doesn't really gel too well, you know, next week is definitely going to be an experiment. Look forward to that. You know, Rick will pop in from time to time. You know, maybe sometimes it'll be more frequent, and that'll be great.
Yep.
But we'll figure this out. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
It's not going away.
It's not the end. Not even close. We got those 3 digits.
Yeah, we got to make use of that 0.
Yeah.
You know, so I am absolutely determined to get us to episode 100, if nothing else.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I think this will be okay.
Yeah.
I'm not worried.
Me too.
Yeah. Even if even if we stop weekly and we just do like
bi-weekly or something,
once a month. I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out ultimately, but we will. I'm making this like a double promise. We will get to episode 100. We promised that on the first episode, and I'm promising it again here in episode 45.
Yep.
It's the last thing I do.
Yeah.
I'll record episode 100.
Yeah. We'll be all right.
Okay. So, you've been buying anything?
Very little this week.
Well, you definitely got some purchases this week.
Yeah, I do have some purchases. Let's talk about that. I think I reached the end pretty much of my lots that I had been buying.
Okay, yeah.
What's left, I think, is just shovelware. Not really worth bringing. But, so...
I was at Comic-Con.
Taylor was at Comic-Con all last week, as we said in the last episode. And while at Comic-Con, he did pick me up what I asked him to, which is the version of Persona 4 and Persona 3 for each platform in this alternate cover, which is foil, which is super limited.
So Limited Run released... earlier this year, they released Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, which are basically the expanded versions of Persona 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. Originally appearing on the PSP for Persona 3 Portable and the Vita for PlayStation or for Persona 4 Golden. And so at Comic-Con this year, they announced that they were going to be having a special foil cover variant of these games available at the conference. Mm-hmm. And these covers are all individually numbered. Why don't you... how many total copies are there for Xbox?
For Xbox...
it's the same number for each game.
Yeah, it's 1,050.
That's pretty small.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about PS4?
PS4 is 1,150.
Okay, so 100 more on PS4.
Yeah, and then Switch is 2,050.
Okay, so what I can tell you is that Switch and PS4 both sold out at the event. Mm-hmm. Usually when they have leftovers, they sell them on the website at a later date, like usually months from now.
Right.
But that's... I don't know if that means that only the Xbox version will be available online at a later date, or if they specifically held like a small amount of stock to sell online later.
Yeah, or...
But every single copy of the game is individually numbered, so there's no more than 1,050 of those Xbox versions of each game.
Right.
You know, like, these are hyper limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we know that Shin Megami Tensei and Atlas games are, like, without being limited... are already, you know...
Well, ever since Sega took over Atlas...
Yeah, they started getting better with the production.
like, their games aren't really so limited anymore.
Right.
But these will end up being, the most rare Atlas games ever made, effectively, because of their numbers.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if that's true.
I mean, there's no other Atlas game where they only made 1,000 copies. I mean, this is a variant. Mm-hmm. You know, let's be clear.
Yeah, it is a variant.
Like, there is a normal version cover of this game.
Right.
That was sold by Limited Run in, you know, unlimited numbers. As many people that pre-ordered got one.
Right.
But these specific variant versions of these games are going to be hyper limited. I would not be surprised to see these go for multiple hundreds of dollars 3 or 4 years from now. Right. Each one of these games.
Yeah. I mean, there are Atlas games that go for that.
Oh, there are.
You know?
Yeah. But they still had more than 1,000 copies made, you know.
Right. Possibly. There might be like some Ogre Battle game out there that is that rare. It's possible.
Maybe, sure.
I don't have the numbers.
Yeah, and you know, we'll never know those numbers, and we're so far removed from like N64 games and stuff like that that gap of time has just made there to be less and less of them, especially like with box and stuff. You know,
right? People throwing their stuff away and stuff.
So you got all 6 of those.
Yeah.
Initially, you had told me just to get Switch, but then I messaged you at the con, and I was like, "Hey, I got your Switch copies." And you're like,
even after sending you the money, I don't regret my decision.
Honestly, it's a good decision.
Yeah.
I saw people selling sets of like 3 and 4 for one platform for over $150 on eBay.
Yeah, and that's just That's now.
That's right now.
When the game came out.
Right. So who knows multiple years from now?
Yeah. So I can imagine.
That's a sound investment, I believe.
I think so.
For me, I'm not going to talk about my Comic-Con stuff yet, but I did get one purchase in. It arrived from Amazon Japan. Sorry, were you done? Did you want to talk about Pokemon Go? Okay.
Yeah.
So last week I talked about the Nintendo World Championships NES edition for the Nintendo Switch. And that was, of course, the American region copy. And here in my hand, I have the Japanese Nintendo World Championships Famicom Special Edition. So this actually isn't a sealed box, so I'm going to do a little opening for everyone. And get some of that.
Get some of that ASMR experience. Yep. Titillate the audience.
And I'm going to slide these out. And within the box, we have these two kind of layers. The first layer has the game. And I should say these two like layered things are pretty nice. They have this sort of like spacey, retro kind of looking border.
Well, they have the texture of like a starry sky.
Yeah. It matches the cover of the game. So it kind of like fits right in there. So, of course, we have a copy of the game, and this is a not-for-resale copy.
Yes.
The barcode is not printed on there.
And
there is no...
Is this the only way it was released?
No, they're actually... In Japan, there is a standard retail copy.
Okay.
In America, there is no standard retail copy, just the collector's edition. Yeah. Okay. And then inside here, we have a envelope. It's got a nice foil print to it, kind of holographic-y a little bit.
Yep.
And just like the American edition, there are art cards featuring the different games in the collection, but these are in the shape of like Super Famicom boxes.
Yep.
So they're more rectangular, and they're wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like the label on the Famicom
It's
cartridge.
like a landscape thing, kind of like the cartridges of the Famicom.
Yep. So I'm going to put that away.
That's nice.
And then the coolest thing is yet to come, though. Do you remember they released those special NES cartridge or those NES controllers that slide on like Joy-Cons? This is a while back. So they when they first released the like virtual console stuff for Switch, they released special NES controllers.
Like Joy-Cons?
Yeah, like Joy-Cons, but they're like in the shape of NES controllers. And they're only available to people subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online.
Okay.
So they did the same thing in Japan too. And
with the Famicom.
Yes, with the Famicom. And you could only ever get those controllers if you had like a Japanese Nintendo account that was a paying yearly subscription to Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah.
So, and it was only sold directly through Nintendo, and they wouldn't ship to like forwarding addresses or anything like that. So it was like basically impossible to get your hands on them.
Yes.
Well, with the Japanese Collector's Edition, they released the Famicom Joy-Con controllers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those are nice. Those are really nice.
They're really, really nice.
I don't know how ergonomic these will be when you're playing. But...
Well, I mean, if you're trying to have an authentic feel when you're playing a Famicom or NES game.
Sure, yeah. Especially if you're playing with a detached Joy-Con, yeah.
These do not work when slid on the Switch. Yeah, because there's no sticks.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So they basically only charge via the Switch.
Okay.
And then you have to remove them to actually play.
Gotcha.
So
what we're looking at is what looks like a straight-up Famicom controller, but it has the Joy-Con rails on the top.
On the top of it, yeah.
And it's formatted just like a Famicom controller.
It's a very, very close approximation of a Famicom controller. The size is just right. And it's got like a fake volume slider on it. Like they kept all the cool details.
But it's not just like a Joy-Con that's got the color scheme.
No.
It's like an actual controller.
Yeah, it has like the gold, like kind of wood grain cover foil thing on it. So anyways, I've been really excited to get these controllers, and when they announced that they would be included as part of the bundle, I was like, finally, as like a non-Japanese citizen, I have the opportunity to actually get my hands on these. And the last thing that's included in the set, just like the American set, is a pin collection.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see these here. They are a little different from the ones included with the American set, but somewhat similar. I think maybe the only pin that might be different is this middle pin because it's in Japanese.
Right, yeah.
With the title
Wait,
of the
let
game.
me see the other ones. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, so the World Championship logo one has kanji text instead of the English.
Instead of saying...
But the other ones, the ones for the different games, are still in English.
Yeah. They just say Nintendo World Championships. Because Nintendo World Championships was a Western-only thing.
Yeah.
Like, just in America.
Right.
It was never done in Japan. It was never done in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like like almost an acknowledgement of like a Nintendo of America thing.
Yeah.
You know. Anyways, that is the Japanese Nintendo World Championships Famicom edition.
Cool. That's a pretty nice box.
It is, yeah. And believe it or not, cheaper than the American one.
Really?
Yeah, just because the yen is so weak right now.
Oh, you had talked about how this is better than the American one. What's better about it?
Well, this one includes controllers.
Oh,
the other one does not.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah. This was about the same price, $60.
Okay.
And it includes everything that the American collection includes. Except the American collection doesn't include controllers, so
that makes
you can't really.
That's a big difference.
Can't really beat that.
Yeah.
Again, the Japanese yen is super weak, so to people in Japan, it doesn't really feel that way, maybe.
Right.
But for an American, basically, Japan is 33% off right now.
Yeah.
So regarding playing, I've just been at Comic-Con since the day after we recorded last week, from Wednesday to Sunday.
Yeah.
I was not really playing anything. I did do a little bit of Mega Lucario raid day while I was down there.
Okay, good.
I caught a shiny Lucario. I only did like 5-6 raids. I caught a shiny Lucario. And then I got enough Mega Energy to be able to evolve. I caught a almost perfect Lucario, only 2 points off.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think mine is perfect -1.
Okay, that's really good. So perfect -2.
I also did Lucario raid day. And it kind of was in the middle of this Steel event that's going on right now. That I talked about last week. And that's been going good for me.
Yeah. You got a smile on your face.
Yeah, I got a bunch of shinies. I can't remember any of them.
Right. Were they ones you needed or just like dupes?
A couple of them were ones I needed.
Okay.
I finally got 2 shiny Tyrants.
Oh, nice.
So that was nice. I didn't get that one for whatever reason when we were at GoFest.
Yeah.
But last night, I'm not driving because you're not allowed to do that.
No, you
were
not supposed to do that on your break.
I was totally parked on my break, and just like one after another, 3 shiny Bronzors.
Oh.
Yeah, just in like a very short
like
distance.
Like a 10-minute time period?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't need those.
No, yeah.
Really don't, but...
He's been, like, featured in multiple events. Yeah. Or it's been featured in multiple events over the year.
And the fact that it's a Gen 4 Pokemon... What is it, Gen 4? I think it's Gen 4.
Okay.
Means it was in, like, Legends Arceus, which I mean... Yeah. I'm done with all that. Yeah. But, yeah, it's still, I mean... I'll take shinies. I'll catch them, you know...
Yeah, it gets to a point, though, where you start begrudging shinies that you already have.
Yeah, because it could have been something else.
Right.
That's totally...
Well, there's that, and then it's like, you're too precious to, like, delete.
Yeah.
But, like, so you're just clogging up my Pokemon Go inventory effectively.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe someday it'll get an alternate evolution or something.
Anything's possible.
Or someone will need it who I can trade it with. So you keep those things. But yeah, you're right. It gets to the point where, like, you're like, what am I going to do with all these extra shinies? But anyways, were you done?
Yeah, aside from the little bit of Pokemon Go, I haven't been playing anything.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, we had Mega Lucario Raid Day, and we have this Steel event going on.
Yeah, I finished the research this morning.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I forgot to do the last collection challenge.
You have to evolve some Pokemon.
Yeah.
Well, you still have like
it's not
6
over
or
yet.
7 hours, I think.
I might have to do it when I get home.
Yeah.
I just need to throw a magnetic lure so I can do Magnezone.
Yeah.
It's the only one I didn't do.
Yeah.
I finished the timed research.
You get a magnetic lure for doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
Okay, you're not even out anything.
Right. Yeah, but then you use it, and it's like, hey, I gained nothing. But
I mean, you gain the medal count and,
Yeah.
the completion of the
I
task,
have platinums for all those medals, though.
Well, no, the medal that counts how many...
What am I going to do? Max that out? Like, who cares?
It has a number on it. Like, every time you complete one of those collection tasks...
That's what you're talking about. Yeah. Well, that's the only reason I need... Yeah, you're right.
And there's rewards. You get a chance at a possible shiny.
That's true. Yeah, no, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
For sure. But anyways, I knocked out the actual timed research, like, day one of the event.
I was busy, so it took me, like...
Yeah.
Several days.
You have an excuse.
Yeah.
You were at Comic-Con. I wouldn't even be turning Pokemon Go on if I was at Comic-Con.
Well, I mean, there was some... I mean, like, I knew I had to turn it on for the Lucario thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm not missing out on Lucario Mega Energy, especially during Comic-Con when the raids fill up.
Yeah.
Instantaneously.
Yeah. Right, yeah. That made it probably pretty easy for you.
It was, yeah.
I had a little bit more difficult time.
I was getting 250 energy from every raid.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
It was also like 100 degrees. I wasn't going to go outside.
I was in my air-conditioned convention, which was still warm.
Yeah. With all those people.
Yeah.
I ended up just using like remote raid passes and getting it done. But got it done.
Yeah.
Which is great. As far as what I've been up to, I had someone break my window in my car this week. Like, smash my window.
Like, intentionally?
Yeah. Like, they smashed my driver's side window and stole my work backpack.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Where were you parked?
At my place.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, extremely. Yeah, so they smashed my window, stole my work backpack.
What had what inside of it?
A flashlight, a poncho, and some snacks.
Oh.
I had a box, like a stack of Xbox games sitting on my passenger seat.
And they didn't even take them?
They didn't take them. They were probably a bunch of sports shovelware and stuff.
I mean, maybe that was it. They're like, oh, we don't need Madden 06.
Right.
Yeah.
But, they stole a backpack with worthless... The backpack was worth more than what was inside.
Right.
Yeah, anyways, that set me back a good $350.
Oh.
And so the insurance company covered $200.
Okay.
But I still had to pay $350.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, so it was a $550...
window.
Oh.
And now, so it's replaced... But now my door has a bunch of glass in it. So every time I
That happened to me at work, actually.
Yeah.
They were mowing the lawn or whatever near where I was parked.
Mm-hmm.
And some rock got flung.
Oh.
And smashed my window.
Gotcha.
Or shattered my window, I should say.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the guy actually called his boss and told him what happened.
Okay.
And so then they came and found me in the library, and they had someone come out that same day, and they took care of it.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, no harm, no foul. But literally for months, like every time I rolled up the window, I could hear it all
scratching,
the crunchy.
Yeah.
Like really, they couldn't have cleaned out the glass.
Right.
Like, would it have been that hard to take a brush and get it out?
They
of there?
have to open the door panel because when it got smashed, glass probably fell inside.
So it's like if the door panel's open, clean the glass out of it.
Right.
Eventually it all settled on the bottom and I don't hear it anymore. Yeah. But for a good 6 months, I was hearing the glass in there.
Yeah.
So look forward to that.
Yeah. I'm not, but yeah, anyways, that happened to me Which,
so what lesson did you learn?
That where I live isn't safe.
Yeah, don't leave stuff lying around. Even though, because your parking area is like
well, there's no gate. There's no like indoor structure.
Were you on the street or were you in the back?
I was in the back.
Oh, see, yeah, I would think that area would be pretty...
Yeah.
Because it's hidden, you know?
Yeah, but there's no cameras.
Right.
And it's dark.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that happened to me, and that money I was saving to buy a new TV.
I know, you keep getting set back every time.
Every time. And just like freak stuff shows up. Yeah.
It's like the second time in like a month that you've had like a setback.
Yeah. And that's just my life. Like, this is the story of like how it goes for me. But anyway, so that happened. Taking care of that was also kind of a hassle. Had to wait for the guy to show up and fix it, which it only took... I had to Uber to work once, which round trip was like $50. Yeah. But they fixed it like within like 2 days.
Right.
But waiting for the guy, he's like, okay, he'll be there between 8 and 5. So you're like,
oh, real helpful.
Yeah. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
With that kind of crap.
I don't know how the gardening company like made that happen. Like after 2 hours after it happened, my stuff was fixed. Like they must have like offered to pay like a lot.
They probably have some business insurance plan or something where they get like...
Well, cause no, originally he came in my office and he said, "Hey, why don't you just tell? Here's my number. Give me the bill."
Okay.
And I'm like, I got better things to do.
Yeah.
Than go deal with a problem that you just created for me.
Yeah.
So I told him, like, can you take care of this? Like, I'm at work right now. And, like, I park on the street at home. I can't leave my car window exposed.
Right.
And so I think because of where I work and, like, I wasn't really anybody at work at that point, you know. But, yeah, they just made it happen.
So that's what I've been up to. What about you?
Okay, so I've been at San Diego Comic-Con, which we mentioned I was going to that last week. Trying to figure out how best to approach this without droning on and on and on for a super long time. So I guess I'll just kind of quickly break down each of the 4 days in one night. And just kind of talk about kind of the highlights from each of the days.
Yeah.
So on the first night, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast. I had mentioned that one of the animators from the Pokemon series was going to be there.
I think we did.
Okay, I know for sure we talked about it,
right.
But I don't know if we mentioned on the podcast. So Jen Sato was there, and I decided that I would try to get a commission from him. And so I was able to do so. Of course, the price was $50 higher than they originally said it was going to be.
Of course.
And because now I didn't have enough cash, I had to pay an extra, 10%. Because, I had to pay tax effectively on it.
Right.
Because a lot of places on the con floor, if you pay cash, it's just like flat pricing, Yeah. I don't know why that would be.
Yeah.
Definitely not tax evasion or anything. So I asked him to draw N from Pokemon Black and White because he worked on the Pokemon Black and White anime. So I did get a commission of N. I won't lie, I was a little, for the amount that it cost,
underwhelmed.
I was underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like, I have had sketches given to me for free
way better than
that look better than this.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, and what was kind of annoying was that on the website, on the Facebook page where they announced that he was going to be there, they were showcasing all these example pieces that he's done.
Yeah.
And that made me believe that was like the quality I was going to be getting.
Oh, yeah.
And it turns out for what I paid, which ended up being $220.
Jeez.
Which, don't get, I'm
I'm
a little annoyed about it. I mean, it's nice, but this is like a $50 piece to me. He did it in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would even say 30.
Oh, well, I mean, he worked on the anime.
Right.
You know? Like...
I'm talking about the work.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It happened.
All right.
And, yeah, because he had some pieces that he was selling for 300 that were, like, of Nurse Joy and, like, other characters from the anime that looked so incredibly good. Apologies for the fireworks, it's still July, so people lighting them off.
Yep.
That looks so incredibly good. I would have rather have spent $80 more to get like the one that he did of Nurse Joy that had like shading and stuff.
Right. He did no shading, no depth. It's really just like lines.
Very, again, I've gotten stuff like that at like Anime Expo for free.
Right.
But there were other commissions I got over the weekend that like totally made up for it. Mm-hmm. And I'll get there once we jump to a future day. And then also on preview night, because Wednesday it's just like 3 or 4 hours at night that the convention floor itself is open.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first order of business, getting that Gen Sato commission. Then I went over to the Dark Horse booth for their Shantae / plumbers who don't wear ties signing.
Right.
So there, I don't have the print handy. I already
was it a Way Forward booth or was it Limited Run?
So it's Dark Horse
right.
and Limited Run are both owned by Embracer. So Limited Run was basically stationed in a little mini booth within Dark Horse's booth.
Okay.
But they had the Limited Run signing at the Dark Horse table, signing table, effectively.
Got it.
So it was within the Dark Horse Comics booth.
So was the it's not an exhibit, but was the booth part Shantae?
No, the booth was part Limited Run.
Okay.
So there was like a little corner where Limited Run did all their business within the Dark Horse booth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So because Limited Run has partnered a lot with Shantae over the years, Matt Bozon and Aaron Bozon, the creators of Shantae, as well as their daughter, Bryn Bozon, who I guess they've gotten into the family business, and she's been working on the games now too, from within the most recent one.
We're talking about Way Forward.
Yes, but Shantae is owned by the Bozons, not by Way Forward, which is interesting. Yeah. Because all the Shantae stuff I saw just says copyright Bozon. Doesn't even mention Way Forward anywhere on it. So Way Forward develops it. Matt Bozon works at Way Forward, but he owns the Shantae property himself. Gotcha. I don't know if that was always the case or if like some arrangement kind of happened.
Right.
But yeah, the Shantae rights are a little more murky than I knew.
I know someone who would know.
You do. We both do. But what was cool is their daughter Bryn was also selling like this really nice Shantae print that she had made. I'll have to show it to you later.
Cool.
But in addition to the two of them, the voice of Shantae, Christina V, was also there.
Cool.
And she's normally, I haven't seen her at their signings that they've ever done at Comic-Con, so that was cool. They brought her too.
Yeah, definitely.
And then on top of that...
There was a new Shantae title recently?
No, it's been a couple of years. Okay. They're working on Shantae Advance, the Game Boy Advance.
Right.
Like they're bringing that back from the dead.
Yeah, right.
And then that'll eventually get ported to all the modern platforms too.
Yeah, I have it bought.
Oh yeah, already. Me too. And so, and then the other person who was there was, I'm getting her name right. It's like Jean B something. She was the actress who was in Plumbers Who Don't Wear Ties.
Right.
And so they also had a print for her as well. And you would have been a very big fan of hers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Just her physical appearance.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think as like a...
Oh, I mean, I've seen the game, yeah.
Right. But I mean, like, she has not, like, let age...
get to her?
I mean, in some ways, yes, but I think, in a way that you could appreciate.
Approve of,
yeah.
I gotcha.
So, that was preview night, effectively.
Cool.
So Thursday, the first full day of Comic-Con, there were a couple signings that I went to. There was like a manga artist, not super well known, mostly known for creating like 18 plus stuff. At least he's well known in that community.
A lot of those end up working in games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, if you're like a illustrator, you probably did some 18 plus stuff at some point in your career if you've been around for a while. You know?
Right. Just like if you're a model.
Yeah. Now this person,
I'm making a joke.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know that this person has ever worked on any games.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I did go to their signing both Friday and Saturday, or Thursday and Friday, because they did a nice little sketch for like each one that they did.
Yeah.
I don't have those handy right now.
Were they on the Shikishi?
Yeah, the Shikishi boards. Yeah, I did get them on Shikishi boards. Originally, he was just giving out free little mini Shikishis where he was doing them.
Oh, okay.
But if you brought your own full-size one,
he'd do it.
He'd do like a much larger sketch.
Cool.
But like 75% of the Shikishi board is like taken up with his signature, basically.
Oh, wow.
And then a quarter of it is like the sketch.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which is still generous considering it was free.
Right.
You didn't have to pay anything for it.
Right. And it's his choice.
Yeah, 100%. He could have been like, no, I'm just going to give you this little one,
right,
you know?
Right.
But I consider that pretty generous when they sketch for free.
I would take it.
Yeah. And let's see, what else happened on Thursday? There was the Dragon Age cast signing at the Dark Horse booth.
Okay.
So I think it was 4 members of the cast, one of which played Lightning in all three Final Fantasy
the motion capture
13. The American voice actress.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I did see some people there getting like all 3 of their
games.
Final Fantasy 13 games signed.
That's cool.
Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns, I believe, are the titles of the games.
Mm-hmm. Crazy that they did
3 for Lightning.
I mean, Final Fantasy X had 2.
Yeah.
But
Lightning got 3 somehow. Yeah. And then something really kind of crazy happened. I remember we went to the Sea of Stars event, right? Mm-hmm. So I had brought my copy of Aegis Defenders with me because I wanted to have Bryce sign it, and he had actually a fairly large booth at Comic-Con this year, like a pretty huge booth. Like he has like 5 people like helping him sell stuff.
Yeah.
And he's over in the corner just like meeting and greeting people. And so I bring it's funny, he was talking to someone and he was like talking about his like career path because someone asked him like, how long have you been drawing, blah, blah, blah. And I was standing there waiting to kind of talk to him. And he was like, oh yeah. And then I went and tried to do the whole like indie game thing on my own. And I was like, oh, you mean this game? And he's like, oh, wow. Like, he's like, I'm so glad people remember, you know? Or he said something like, I'm honored people remember. And so he signed the game for me after he finished talking to him. And then I noticed that he's just sitting there selling the art book for Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
And if you buy the art book and then for $25 more, he is doing like crazy sketches in these art books.
Okay. Like
insane sketches.
Yeah. For
$25. And so I was telling him, hey dude, like I was at the event, you know, like I was just telling him I was there. And so anyways, long story short, he agrees to do a drawing on a Shikishi board for me.
Cool. For
just $25.
Yeah. Pretty good.
And so I didn't have any choice of the character. He just told me, like, come back tomorrow to pick it up.
Okay.
And so this is what I get from him.
Yeah, wow. That's great. That's awesome.
Like, this is like a $300 sketch.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Like, this is worth paying $300 for.
Yeah.
So this is the character of Malco Mud and Rocky, who are kind of like a combo package.
Yeah.
And they're featured in the game. They're a boss at one point during the game. They're kind of blocking your path at one point. And then they become like friendly with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could not believe when I went to pick it up that this is what he gave. I mean, he uses the whole Shikishi.
Yeah.
You know, like it is massive.
Yeah.
And then I love his signature, how he uses the gold pen.
Did it in gold pen, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yeah, this is like precious to me. Like, I mean, you can see the comparison between the two things I've had done so far.
Yeah, that says a lot about both men.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
And so the next day, I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't actually own the art book. Mm-hmm. Why don't I go buy the art book?
Yeah.
And then I can get another sketch.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, you just took advantage of the guy. Jeez.
Well, I was like, I want the art book. Well, he agreed to it. So I came back the next day. I'm like, hey, I want to buy the art book, and then again, I asked, would you be willing to do it in the Shikishi again? And at this point, on this day, he's now taking character requests.
Oh, okay.
So the first day, it was just like whatever he wants to do, And I never would have asked for those characters.
Yeah.
But I am so glad that's what I got, because that piece is incredible. So now I asked for the female lead character. And this is the only other sketch I got from him, by the way. So don't worry, I'm not pulling like 10 of these out of my hat.
No, I know.
So anyways, her name's Valere. So I got a sketch of the female.
Sea of Stars character.
Sea of Stars, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, basically this was just a special promotion he was doing for the release of the art book. There is no way in heck he's going to be offering these kinds of things again next year. No. There's absolutely no way.
Right.
Not until maybe like whatever the next game is, and then he'll maybe if they make another art book for that, But basically this is just to celebrate the release of the art book and promote it. Anyways, just absolutely dumbfounded. His generosity, his immense generosity.
Yeah.
Doing this for his fans.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
Right.
I've never seen anything on that level.
Yeah.
So just could not believe it. Made my whole con, basically. Like, the disappointment of that first one was just erased by specifically the first sketch in particular. I just absolutely adore it.
Cool.
So that was Thursday and a little bit of Friday. There was the Sonic Speed Cafe did reopen.
Oh yeah, that was last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they reopened it this year again, and it's open for the next 3 months, I believe.
Cool.
But there was a signing. So there was this like visual novel that Sega put out last year called "The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog."
A game?
Yes, like a visual novel game. It's only available on Steam. It's free.
Oh, okay.
And the lead artist behind the game was there at the signing. I had hoped to get like a quick little sketch from them, but by the time I got over there, the line was massive, and in order to get into the signing, you had to like buy something to eat, which it's like a crazy overpriced cafe.
Yeah.
So it was like a whole kind of scheme, and I was like, I'm not going to sit here for 2 hours, waiting. And then by then the signing's probably going to be over. So I didn't get to do that. That was a little bit of a bummer. But then on Friday, the only other really interesting thing that happened was I met the composer of the God of War games, the recent ones, Bear McCreary.
Cool.
He was there, got him to sign my copy of the most recent God of War game, which was already signed by a whole bunch of people who I met at WonderCon a couple years ago. Really the highlight, though, of Friday was I got into the IGN party, which every year IGN hosts this like big event at the Hard Rock Cafe on Friday or Saturday night. I can never remember which day it is exactly. And they always have a corporate like game sponsor. So last year, I think it was I can't remember what it was last year, but this year it was Hoyoverse's new game.
Oh, okay.
Zenless Zone Zero.
Cool.
So the whole party was decorated. Free drinks, as many as you wanted.
Oh, cool.
Free food, as much as you wanted.
Cool.
It was like a legit like after party. Only 100 like normies got in.
Oh.
Everyone else was like
industry.
Industry, VIPs, influencers,
Yeah.
friends of workers, that kind of
Gotcha.
thing. The only like industry people I noticed were like the people who were at the Dragon Age cast signed at the panel the previous day. I saw them all there, but they were wearing like their like fancy party clothes and stuff,
Yeah.
So anyways, I was there for a couple hours. They had some cool little unique like branded items, like the lanyard they gave out was branded with the game and stuff on it. They had like a scavenger hunt, and there were prizes and raffles. Maybe my favorite thing, aside from the empanadas, which were
really good,
really good beef empanadas. I had like 5 of them probably. Cool. But they had like a DJ that was like playing music, and on stage with them they actually had like a drummer and a saxophone player like playing along with like the DJ's music. And
this is the God of War composer?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is the IGN party.
Right.
God of War composer was a signing earlier in the day.
Well, okay. Who was on stage then? Anyone of note?
No, just musician, just like a DJ.
Okay.
And like a saxophone player, and that's it. And a drummer.
Right.
Just playing music for the party.
Right.
And they had like the mascot of the game, like dancing in front of the stage and stuff. I got video and all kinds of stuff.
Gotcha. Were they playing music from the game?
No, it was just, regular DJ mixes, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But anyways, I just absolutely loved the fact that there was a saxophone DJ combo. I've never heard or thought of that before, and they were just freestyling it,
Yeah.
So then stop me if you ever have any questions. Okay?
Yeah, no worries. I will.
Okay. Haven't had any questions yet, really.
Yeah, no, I don't.
No, okay. Okay, so Friday I was supposed to pick up a paid commission that I had paid for before the conference. And you remember I told you that the legendary Pokemon and Mega Man artist was going to be there, Hitoshi Ariga?
I don't remember you telling me that. No.
Yeah, he's a Pokemon designer. We had looked at some of his
designs. Oh, yeah.
Last week.
Okay, now I remember. Yes.
But he wasn't signing or doing anything Pokemon related. He was only,
yeah, this is that guy.
He was only there to promote his Mega Man stuff.
Right.
With Capcom and Udon, the company that puts out a lot of merchandise.
Right. Which is just unbelievable that he's not taking Pokemon requests.
I don't know. That might be at the discretion of the Pokemon company telling him
most
not to.
Most likely
it wouldn't surprise me. But because my commission wasn't ready, the people at Udon gave me one of these special gold Mega Man cards, which they only gave out to people who spent $150 at their booth.
Wow.
And he did the design, and you can see his signature on, not his actual printed signature, but his etched signature
on the back of
the back of the card.
Is it card for anything, or is it just
it's just a collectible?
Decorative.
Yeah. Okay. It's not playable or anything. This is actual metal.
Gotcha.
So I had to wait until Saturday to pick up my commission, which ended up being fine. So I will now unveil this to you, and this is something I paid a lot of money for, but actually worth it.
Okay.
So I asked him to draw Roll from Mega Man.
Okay.
Who is, the one female in the Mega Man universe, basically.
Right.
And so this is what I got.
Wow. That is great. That is awesome.
Yeah, there's shading, there's color,
yeah.
There's a little background pattern going on.
Yeah, that's how you be proud of your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the story. The reason why it wasn't ready, I found out, was that he had pre-done everyone's commissions before coming to San Diego Comic-Con, and his luggage was lost.
Oh, okay.
So they took 20 full-size Shikishi commissions and 20 mini Shikishi commissions.
Yeah.
All 40 of those
gone,
vanished into the ether.
And he had to redraw them all?
Basically, yeah.
Wow.
So he apparently spent had little time to sleep or do anything, any free time. He was redoing all the Shikishis.
Jesus, that's crazy. That sucks.
Yeah, it's on one hand I'm like, wow, you're incredible for doing that, and then on the other I'm like, I'm so sorry you had to do that, and I hope this doesn't discourage you from coming again another year.
Yeah.
So this. Do you have any guess how much this cost me?
$300.
More.
$400.
More.
Wow. Dude, you're crazy. $500?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That was my initial thought, and then I was like, no.
So, the only way I was able to make it work is that their website accepted PayPal, and I could do PayPal credit, so I could pay the $500 over 6 months without any interest.
Jeez.
So I'm like, okay, it's only going to cost me $100 a month. I can make that work in my budget. But yeah, I was not going to pass this opportunity to have him do this.
It's got your name on it.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind if the Shikishis have my name on it. Okay. It's like when they write their name on my video game.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this is this is not going anywhere. This won't leave me until I'm dead.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So, and I love that it's got like the San Diego Comic-Con thing on her shirt, her dress, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's really great.
So I love that it has like the lines and stuff from like when he was like pre-skit. Yeah, it's like it feels raw.
Like the pencil lines?
Yeah, the pencil lines. Anyway, so this and that one thing from Bryce are like... I've never had such a crazy good Comic-Con. I mean, that was like basically free.
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't.
Right. Very much not so.
But what was cool is I got this card, which is like selling for like over $200 on eBay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and flip this card because I don't really need it and I don't know what to do with it. So maybe I'll be able to kind of make back a little bit of that, take the sting out. And then, you know, they told me when I picked it up, he's like, hey, if you come back later, you can meet him and take a picture with him. And I got to go like to the back area of their booth and do that with him, which was pretty cool.
Cool.
And then Sunday, the only real big signing thing I had to do was the Dragon Age dev team, or members of the dev team were there. So I brought back the poster from Thursday that had the developers sign it, and then I got a bunch of the devs to sign it too.
Cool.
And that was basically my Comic-Con experience. Yeah,
Very
it was a good one. I enjoyed it. I didn't do the whole camp out and wait 2 days for Marvel thing this year.
Yeah. How was the line on the traffic, like human traffic?
Well, human traffic on the floor I feel like every year it feels worse, but it's bad every year. Yeah. Because you have people, generally, like one side is going one direction and one side is going the other direction, but then there's all these aisles, so people are like trying to like go into the aisles, and so that's what causes the problems when you reach those like cross points in the traffic.
And you always have those real special people who are going to go against, like, on the wrong side. They
go against it, and then there's sometimes where it's like you're trying to like wait for like a tiny opening in the traffic so you can run off to the side.
Right.
But sometimes it's hard. You end up having to like almost go past where you were trying to go and like loop back around.
Does it feel necessary to camp out like it used to back in the day, or
no, if you're just trying to go to the show floor, you can get there like 2 hours before it opens to make sure you be one of the first people at like basically any booth you want to be one of the first few people at.
Right.
The only thing that kind of ruins that is the exhibitors. People with exhibitor badges can get on the exhibit floor hall early. Yeah. And some of them abuse that. Like, they're not at their booth doing what they should be doing. Right. They get in line the moment the clock strikes 9, you know, when people come in. Yeah. And so then, like, sometimes you get to a booth and there's already, like, 30 people in line and they all have exhibitor badges on. Basically, they're all just resellers, you know.
I'd seen some of that going on at E3 in the last few.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it happens at every con. Now, there are some cons that, like, exclude exhibitors from being able to do things. And there are some booths at Comic-Con that will exclude exhibitors from being eligible to participate. Gotcha. Or get whatever freebies and stuff like that, which I appreciate.
On one level, that's kind of stinks for them, you know?
But the problem is that too many of them abuse it. Yeah. So it's like if they all just, I don't know what you do. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm sure there are some exhibitors like, they get their 15-minute break, right, or their hour break or whatever. They're like done for the day and they have 4 hours left, and now they can't do anything, right, you know, because some exhibitor or some of the other booths are like, no, sorry, no exhibitor freebies. Right. But yeah, it's now for camping out for like the big Marvel reveal moments inside the big huge hall, like that you have to get in line Thursday night for Saturday night. So you spend Thursday night on the concrete, all day Friday night on the concrete, just to get into a room Saturday morning. Yeah. To see a panel that happens at like 6 o'clock at night.
Oh my God.
I used to do that. I did not do that this year.
That's you gotta get someone. Yeah, you gotta get your head checked if that's you.
Now, like for me, the reason why I didn't do it is because normally Saturday in Hall H is like stacked. Like it'll be like Fox will be there, Warner Brothers will be there. You know, like every like major big tentpole movie that's coming out in the next year
Right.
or in the future has like a presence there, like a Mad Max movie is there, like cool stuff like that.
Sure.
This year none of it was very interesting until that like Marvel moment at the end of the day. And for me, I was like, I cannot give up 2 days of my con for 1 hour and a half long panel. Like,
yeah,
just can't justify
that.
Yeah, and I'm glad I didn't, because if I had done that, I probably never would have ran into Bryce Coe's booth. Probably never would have got that really cool sketch. I wouldn't have had time to like meet with Hitoshi Ariga. I wouldn't have time for the after party that I went to, and none of that would have happened. I would have been sitting.
Yeah.
Now I would have been having fun with my friends in line, but
yeah, that's I don't know. People who do that, I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. The curse might be broken. I might be over it now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I missed one.
Well, that's encouraging.
I missed one and it was okay.
Yeah.
So like
you're still alive.
Yeah, like I heard about it on YouTube or on Twitter.
I watched the YouTube video of that
3
panel.
minutes after it happened.
There you go.
Now the thing that used to be is like, typically they show footage and stuff or like exclusive behind the scenes stuff that they don't release on YouTube, or at least that's the way it traditionally was. But now more and more, like 1 minute after the panel ends, that trailer's online.
Yeah.
Marvel still keeps their stuff pretty secretive in terms of like the footage and stuff.
I'm a patient.
Yeah.
Like really.
I mean,
patient to a fault.
The only cool thing that happened at the Marvel panel this year, and maybe you've already heard about it because it's been all over the internet, but basically they had this thing where like they were going to reveal who Doctor Doom is going to be played by, right?
Oh, okay.
And so they had like all these like Doctor Doom acolytes.
I better spend 2 days of my life on the concrete.
And then they had the guy who was going to be Doctor Doom in the middle, and then they pull the mask off, and it's Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, obviously the place went, like, lost their mind. Like, he's Iron Man! I don't get it!
What's going
on?
Making theories and stuff. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're playing into this whole multiverse thing with the Marvel movies,
right.
So, like, it kind of already explains itself.
It's a different timeline, you guys!
He's gonna come to our world. Anyways, let's not, I'm not going to say anything bad about those people. I have friends who waited in those lines. But yeah, it felt good not to be there this year. And I really enjoyed just spending more time within the con itself.
That's encouraging to hear that you're over it.
I wouldn't say I'm over
potentially.
It. We'll see. It would take a really good lineup in that hall to get me to do that again.
Okay.
That's Comic-Con.
Yeah. I have never once been to Comic-Con. And this is why. Like, I just keep that far away from it.
Right. Well, I mean, like, it's optional, as I learned this year.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, there are other cool things going on at Comic-Con. Things that I've been missing out on that now I was able to take part in.
I don't go at all, and I'm fine. Yeah. I'm alive. Anyways, you want to take a break?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to do my Seraphim Weekly update now.
We're not going to be able to call this a weekly update anymore going forward.
That's true.
It's going to be
just Seraphim update.
Yeah.
So I have been doing a lot of coding all week, and I jumped headfirst into the player management script, which is actually one of, if not the longest script in my game.
What do you call that script for short?
What do you mean?
Do you have like an acronym you use for it?
Just player manager.
Oh, okay. Maybe PMS.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. You're hilarious. Anyways, it's like the longest script in the game. It references everything. Like, it talks to everything. So it's been kind of a daunting thing for me. And I am basically taking it, putting it on one screen, starting a new C# script on the other screen, and just rewriting it line by line. And when I get to a reference to an animator, or I get to a reference for a particle system, or a texture file, instead of having a direct reference, I want to have a link like a path to the file to load from disk. That's the whole point.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's going to load, all that crap like on load. So having a resource link to load it in when it's needed is like how, the whole point of like how I'm doing all this. That goes for textures, that goes for meshes, that goes for audio files especially. Audio files, when you do those, there's a few different options. You can load it all at once, you can stream it, and then there's another option, like compression option. So I'm going through, and as I get to any reference to anything, I'm either, doing what I need to do to that particular object. Like animators, I got to rebuild them. I got to rebuild them from the old animator system to the new animator system, and that involves a visual flowchart kind of interface where I take each individual clip, and some of this kind of really pains me because the Serif model itself, I went way hard, spent months writing this manager script for its old animator. That like regulates the idle animation, stores what idle animation is playing, so it doesn't go back to like its default idle animation. Because every power-up has a different idle animation. I don't know if you knew that, but so it's got to go back to like what idle animation it was doing before.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a lot of You really thought ahead there.
Yeah, it's a lot of conditions. It's a lot of if statements. It's a big old web of, conditions. And so knowing that I have to basically throw that away and put it all into a visual flowchart and rebuild the whole thing kind of sucks. So animators have to be rebuilt from the ground up. Audio files have to be like unreferenced, stored in a resource folder, and have a resource path in like referenced in the code. Textures, same thing as audio files. Audio files have like additional settings that they need, such as compression. If I'm going to stream it, if it's a long audio file like music, I'm going to stream it. If it's a short little half a second sound effect, I'm just going to load it. Doing that with like a minute and a half music file is going to cause a lag, or potentially cause a lag.
Right.
Probably not on PS5.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of that problem has maybe been eliminated.
Yeah, with Vita. This is all still for Vita.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep going with it.
Okay.
I'm not going to change direction. Yeah, so I'm going through line by line this player management script. It'd be hard to give you like a percentage of completion. But
I know you're like doing this, and so you don't have to do it again in the future. Like almost like you're
It's not so much so I don't have to do it in the future.
Like on other projects, like you already have like these things built that you can just like plug into other projects, right?
There's that too. So all the tools and systems and stuff that can be reused, such as a pause menu, that's pretty universal. That can get transplanted pretty easily and like reskinned for a new project. But it's so that it's like organized. It's optimized, but it's also organized in a way that like is modular, so that in Seraphim 2, if I want to do some crazy feature, it's all in pieces already. I don't have to take it apart.
Just because you're thinking of making the game for PS5 doesn't mean there won't be a Switch port someday, with much less powerful hardware there.
Right.
So those things are still important, the optimization.
Right. I just want my game code to be as optimized as possible universally. Yeah. I just want it to run on anything.
Yeah.
I plan on putting out an Android build and just running it on a phone to see how it does, But yeah, so that's what I'm doing, is this player management script, line by line, and as I hit a reference, I'm changing what needs to be changed. With particle systems, that also means rebuilt from scratch.
Okay.
Using the Shuriken particle system, which means I gotta play the old particle system, watch it, and then basically try to rebuild that effect.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's gonna be a slow process.
Yeah.
This was like one of probably 3 scripts that I was dreading.
Okay.
To even start touching.
You're ripping the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, it's gonna get done, and once it is done, it'll be glorious because I'll actually be able to start making new assets again.
Yeah.
You know, and actually working on a game again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You need some art to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That. So I have the opening animation. I've been keyframing that for going on 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't touched that for a while, but when I come back to that, that's going to be a whole other thing. I basically have to like relearn what I did and, you know, re-envision my initial vision, you know, because it's so not like I have a bunch of like storyboard concept art.
Right.
I skipped all that process because I don't have anything to communicate to anyone.
Right. But like now you're 2 years separated from that.
Yeah, but it is in my head.
Yeah.
You know, it will come back.
Okay.
It might come back with some new ideas,
right.
but it'll come back. Anyways, yeah, that's what I've been working on this week.
Cool.
Oh, and I was up all night coding. I'm on 2 hours of sleep.
You'll have to excuse Rick if he sounds a little off.
Yeah, excuse me, guys. But yeah, I was up working on this all night until about 10 a.m. Yeah.
There you have it.
So, that is my Seraphim Weekly Update. All right, t-shirts.
T-shirts. You want me to talk about you first?
Sure.
All right. So, Rick is wearing a brown shirt, crew neck, short sleeve.
Yep.
A little tight.
This is one of the OGs.
Yeah, this is a probably a Hot Topic shirt, if I had to guess.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so like I said, it's a brown crew neck, short sleeve. It has a red like wireframe NES controller graphic on it, and underneath it, it says the word gamer.
So yeah, this is a shirt from high school.
Yeah. I mean, where else would... who was selling gamer shirts then? Hot Topic's the only one I can think of. Yeah. Like, they were ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Now Walmart and Target.
They could have been.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had, like, some Pokemon stuff, and... but, like, it was, like, edgy to call yourself a gamer.
Yeah, it was, it was, like, more socially unacceptable.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's like the mainstream thing to do.
Yeah. Anything on the back?
No, I don't think so.
What about your label? I'm going to take a look at it.
Sure. If you can.
Yeah, it's got a... Oh, yeah, let's see if we can get some copyright info. Copyright 2006. Yep. Nintendo has the classic red and white Nintendo logo. And, 2006. We would have been juniors or leaving sophomore year then?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, no, we would have been juniors going on seniors.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, that's got to be Hot Topic.
Yeah, you're probably right. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I don't remember myself shopping at Hot Topic at that time. But
maybe your mom went in for you.
I don't think my mom bought it. She wouldn't encourage this.
Okay. Frankensons?
No. I wasn't going to I didn't know about Frankensons until after college. I don't know where I got it.
The mystery will never solve.
Yeah. That's fine.
Alright, so my shirt is a promo shirt from Comic-Con, and I'll let Rick talk about it now.
Alright, so Leap Year Society official member, and we have this weird-looking secret society-looking crest. It's got a LYS in...
Probably for Leap Year Society.
Most likely, in a circle with some symbols.
What color is the shirt?
Like a forest green.
Yeah.
Crew neck.
Short sleeve.
Short sleeve, and I can see the tag says Bandai Namco.
Yes.
So I know this is gaming related. The circle itself has some symbols in it. We got a infinity symbol in the middle with a weird, almost asterisk looking thing in one of the little openings there, as well as
it almost reminds me. I mean, it's not.
It's just got a square,
but it has like a not druid, but like a
tribal kind of feel.
Not tribal. What is that, like Gaelic? Like that, like
Celtic,
Irish mysticism.
Celtic.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that might just be the green shirt kind of swaying me.
Yeah, the green and silver color scheme. You might be right. It does kind of have like a Celtic-y feel
to it.
And then we got 1888, and then we have a upside down 9, and I know that because it has a line at the top.
So it's not a 6, people.
They want you to know it's a 9.
Right.
3 and 6.
All right, you want to see the back now?
And then it says infinitus. Let's see the back.
All right.
Unknown 9 awakening. Believe in the unknown.
So the game is called Unknown 9 Awakening, I believe.
Okay.
And I guess believe in the unknown must be the tagline or something.
Right.
So to maybe better explain this a little bit, there was outside the convention center, basically the convention spills into the city. Mm-hmm. Like it takes over the Gaslamp district, it takes over the area on the sides of the convention center and behind the convention center.
Right.
And so in the Gaslamp district, there was this, they call it an off-site, these things that are outside the convention center. Mm-hmm. And Bandai Namco had this little off-site activation for this game. Mm-hmm. And they had people dressed in like different clothing, and they were all like in character, trying to convince you to join the Leap Year Society or this other like rival whose name is like escaping me right now. Uh-huh. And they had 2 different shirts depending on like which like team you wanted to support. Mm-hmm. And with it, they gave you like a lanyard that had like a little like badge for like the group as well. Mm-hmm. And then they made mocktails for everyone.
Oh, cool. Non-alcoholic cocktails.
Yeah, for those unaware.
So fruit juice, basically.
Yeah, fruit juice.
So what is this game out? Is it coming out?
It's coming this fall, I believe. They did not have any like video of it or anything, so I have no idea what it looks like. Someone said it looks kind of like an Assassin's Creed game.
Okay.
I don't know if that's an accurate description. It's not made by Bandai Namco. It's published by Bandai Namco. Mm-hmm. It's made by a company called Reflector Entertainment Limited.
Okay.
As you can see here, the shirt is not for sale, by the way.
Right, okay. Not for NSFR or whatever the hell.
It just says not for sale, so... I've never seen that on a shirt before, now that I think about that. That's interesting.
So, clearly they're trying to be mysterious about this.
Yeah.
Based on the
I mean, I was intrigued, particularly because like the people were all dressed up and like in character, you know. Mm. They're like, join the Leap Year Society.
Yeah, right.
Here's all the wonderful, and they were like explaining the lore of the game,
like they're evangelists for secret societies.
Exactly. And what's funny is that typically at the front of Gaslamp, where these people were, Comic-Con often has various evangelists of different walks of life, like screaming on megaphones and stuff at everyone. Yeah,
so they probably played into that. And they're trying to... Seems like they're trying to be mysterious about the game itself.
Yeah. The guy kind of explained a little bit about the world, and the Unknown Nine are like these gods they worship or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then I think the Leap Year Society wants to like revere them and... like worship them in a way, but the other group wants to like harness them and use them to like create a weapon or something like that.
Gotcha.
So like that's kind of like how they were like pitting, you know, the two sides against each other. But that was just what the Leap Year guy told us, that they wanted to use it for a weapon.
Right.
I didn't hear the other.
So that could be propaganda.
Exactly.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of fun in that sort of a way, you know. So I am like a little intrigued. I don't know I need to know a little more about the game than
right.
just handing me a T-shirt and giving me a spiel. But I have a question for you.
It's kind of a Kojima thing to do, I feel.
Okay. Do I wear this? I'm like, with my promo shirts, I'm getting more like
protective of them.
Yeah, because I have some promo shirts that I've worn from like 10 years ago. Now they're so raggedy.
Yeah.
And like they were at one point really nice and special, and now I'm like, I don't know.
I wear mine, but I limit their use.
Yeah.
I don't. I try not to wear them all the time.
Yeah. My mistake was making some of them like pajama shirts.
Right.
And so I would wear them like 5 nights in a row, and then wash them.
It's really washing them, I feel like, that damages them.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to be outside, I won't wear them.
I mean, this is like, I don't know this brand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone's going to care about this brand. I don't know, is this a live service game? Like, is this something I should even care about, you know?
It could be a live service game.
So I wonder, like, I don't know, maybe I kind of play the wait and see game. If this game, like, flops and never, and I'm like, okay, now I can wear it, But if it's, like, going to,
I don't invest this much into the shirts anymore.
No?
Like, no.
Well, you invest more into shirts than I do.
Yeah, I mean, like, thought and, dedication and, like, trying to preserve
shirts.
Yeah, just...
I have my shirt from the Rhythm Heaven Fever event.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's got the little monkey with the fake pocket and the like rainbows coming out of it.
Yeah, I have the same shirt.
And I'm just like, it's so like worn out. Yeah, and I'm just like, wow, I wish I opened up my storage thing and just saw it in like perfect, pristine.
Mine,
because then I could wear it like once in a blue moon.
Right. Mine still looks like that.
It probably does. Yeah.
Most of my shirts are in boxes.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Wait and see is probably your best option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shoits.
All right, you ready for the news?
Let's do it.
Okay. So, Capcom held its 2024 meeting of the shareholders at the Ritz-Carlton in Osaka. Ballroom 525.
Oh, man. Wow, we could go to this room.
We could, yeah.
I'd be like, wow, this is where it was.
The meeting was held on July 20th, 2024. And I've extracted the questions and answers that I thought were interesting or needed to be discussed.
Okay.
I included other questions just so our audience can kind of get to understand what these meetings are like. And also see the mindset of a company like Capcom, and as well as like the types of thoughts that these shareholder folk have at these kinds of meetings.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the one opportunity that like they have to answer like
any question,
non-employee questions. Yeah,
right. You're right. That's true. And the representatives asking those questions are kind of a subset of society that isn't like your average day gamer.
Right. I mean, you have to have so much money invested in order to like get into these meetings, I believe.
You have to be invited, which means you have to have a certain amount of investment. This is like the board of directors, basically. Yeah. And the company ultimately decides who their board of directors is going to be.
Right.
It's not like your highest investors always.
Right.
There are people on like Twitter's board of directors who only had like a 0.0005%.
Right.
Or,
Yeah, I don't think it's the board of directors asking these questions.
It's shareholders.
It's just
I really don't know like who has access exactly.
Yeah. I mean, because I've heard stories of people investing in Nintendo just to get into one of these meetings to ask them a question about F-Zero. So
yeah, and we see
stranger things have happened.
Yeah, it's true, and we see some kind of in that direction questions in this meeting here. So I'm just gonna be reading some of these questions.
We'll go back and forth. Right?
Yeah, we'll go back and forth. And not all of them need discussion, I feel like.
Okay.
Some of them I did just include just so you can see how
they think
bland some of them are, or just how
sometimes they're probably asking like dumb questions that we already have answers to.
Right. But I would like to kind of showcase how I want to put you in ballroom 525 on July 20th. Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
So the first question I chose, tell me the background of how Capcom became an official sponsor of the Japan Volleyball Association. I included this question because I didn't even know that.
I remember a few months ago seeing the jerseys, and like they have Capcom like so prominently across the chest of them.
It's
like, wow, I want one of those jerseys.
I want one of those jerseys. Shoot. So Capcom answered. Capcom entered into an agreement to become an official sponsor of the Japan Volleyball Association, as it shares it in the organization's goal of contributing to the healthy development of children and young people, as well as to the mental and physical growth of the nation. Further, from the standpoint of being a responsible corporate citizen, Capcom supports the promotion of local communities, sports, culture, and the arts. A pretty wholesome answer, I think.
Here's a picture of the jersey.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's got like Street Fighter characters and Monster Hunter and stuff. That's cool. So, yeah. That's her answer.
Yeah, I mean, so interesting. They come at it from a point of like, oh yeah, this is to promote like healthy living.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, it's more than that. They say, being a responsible corporate citizen, Capcom supports the promotion of local communities, sports, culture.
It's like we give back.
And the arts. Yeah. I mean, and they are.
I mean, they're giving back and they're getting like brand, attention at the same time.
Yeah, whatever a company does is gonna be that.
Oh yeah, I'm not criticizing that.
But yeah, I mean, just by nature of them being a company,
right?
Anyways, you want to read the next question?
Okay, so the question is, what factors drive Capcom's annual operating profit growth?
So a really big general question. Mm-hmm. I wanted to include that because that's like the key. Like, that's why we're here.
Right. So Capcom said, or the answer Capcom provided was, Capcom is outfitted with world-class, cutting-edge development facilities and owns a wealth of globally popular IPs. We continue to strive for ongoing operating profit growth and will increase the number of consumer game unit sales by promoting global expansion and digital sales via enhanced digital marketing.
Mm-hmm. So this is kind of the first question that touches on the digital versus physical.
Yeah.
It comes up quite a bit in this.
Okay.
And I don't know if I included every single question because there were a lot.
Okay.
But it does come up quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they don't say we're trying to expand physical.
They don't say that. No,
they definitely don't.
Because, and clearly they do talk about expanding the the digital market. Not a good sign.
Not for us, no.
Not for us.
But maybe there's some hope.
Yeah.
Later on in this.
We'll see. In the past, this was a highly volatile industry where a new release in one fiscal year would drive large earnings growth, with a comparative drop in earnings in the next fiscal year. Recently, however, we no longer see this pattern in Capcom's earnings. Further, the company has achieved increased operating profit of over 10% each year. What has driven this? And Capcom answered, in the past, we primarily sold games at physical retail stores, where we would typically sell a new game that was placed on the limited space of stores' shelves for a period of approximately 6 months. However, accompanying the digital shift in recent years, game makers have become able to sell games directly online, which allows us to carry out pricing strategies as well as discounts on past series titles in conjunction with the launch of a new release. Thanks to this, unit sales continue to grow even today for titles such as Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I don't know why they said Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
That's what Resident Evil 7 is called
it is
in
called
Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, they're actually...
No, I know Biohazard is the series name.
They actually called Biohazard 7 Resident Evil 7 Biohazard in Japan.
Okay.
Like, they're now using the Resident Evil branding
in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't even aware of that. Which was released 7 years ago, as well as for Monster Hunter World, which was released 6 years ago. Further, we thoroughly manage our medium-term development schedule by maintaining a 5-year development map that enables us to effectively time the release of new titles. This has led us to think that the games industry overall has shifted to one of low volatility due to a change in our business model, via which we can continue to sell games over the long term as the ratio of digital title sales increases.
So first he talks about, we used to make money selling physical video games.
Right, but then we realized we can make way more money
if we sell them digitally.
And cut expenses by selling them digitally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's just how it works. You don't have to have distribution. Right. You don't have to pay retailers.
Yeah.
Now you just sell it and you give, 20 to 30%.
Not to mention there's added marketing because you're featured in like PlayStation State of Play and stuff like that. In a way that like wasn't before.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are a lot of upsides for the developer and the publisher for digital. Obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
We know there's a reason they're doing it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Your turn.
Okay, so their next question that was asked was, wouldn't you be able to capture more profit by bumping up the release date of the next Monster Hunter title, currently scheduled for 2025, to the December 2024 holiday season? So this is basically an investor saying, hey, why don't you just release that game earlier that you're working on?
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is like dumb. This is a dumb question.
There's a lot of dumb questions in this. They're coming from people who have a lot of money, have a lot of control.
And want to make more money.
Money. Probably aren't gamers.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess. Like the lifestyle of a, millionaire investor and the lifestyle of a gamer are kind of mutually exclusive in a lot of ways.
So the Capcom's answer was, we plan to announce the release timing for the latest Monster Hunter title once preparations are complete. We hope you are looking forward to it. We remain committed to achieving our goal of 10% or better operating profit growth each fiscal year. Basically, this is like a
non-answer.
Yeah, please be patient.
Yeah, so you're going to see this a lot from Capcom. They're going to be saying a lot of things such as, please be patient, or, that's not our priority, but they're going to say it in these corporate, nice speak.
Even without Monster Hunter releasing this year, we're still going to aim for 10% or more growth.
Yeah.
I mean, which is a good, reasonable goal to have.
It's like, hey, this is them translation time.
Yeah.
This is them saying, we're going to release it next year, but we are, here are our growth projections and goals. Good. I think that's a good, I learn a lot from these, a well-written response. Tell me about your progress on the Rex engine, the successor to your proprietary RE engine. Some of these shareholders asking these questions actually know their stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Really kind of cut deep with some of their questions.
Yeah.
And I can almost see the faces in the room
like,
of the other ones that are like, I've never heard of this. Yeah. So Capcom responded, we are updating development with the aim of improving efficiency and achieving photoreal graphic technology. We hope you look forward to future announcements regarding specific titles. Side note, I had seen a YouTube video recently of this new first-person shooter that I believe is on Steam or coming to Steam, and it is photorealistic. Yeah. Like it looks like video.
Okay. That's crazy.
I wish I had remembered the title of it, but we're there. Yeah. Like this next generation of games, probably starting next year, like we're there.
Yeah.
Like it looks like you could confuse it with video.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
I mean, Capcom games, even though like they do aim for a level of hyper-realism, there is still like a stylized like character design.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. This was kind of So
I do wonder if they plan to abandon that and just truly go hyper-real.
I mean, I don't think them shooting for that is abandoning their roots or their signature art style necessarily. Right. I like my games, you know, in the future. I plan on inventing a different art style for each one. You know, I don't think it's wrong for a publisher to do that.
No,
as long as they don't do it with Street Fighter. You know, and keep that true.
Oh yeah, could you imagine Street Fighter is all of a sudden just like proportions are all normal and
dude, they got Jean-Claude Van Damme like literally in the game.
He's Guile.
Yeah, dude. That'd be crazy. So that was their answer.
That reminds me, this is like kind of off topic, but at Comic-Con, Mortal Kombat had a panel.
Mm-hmm.
And
this year?
This year.
Okay.
And they announced they like to do like crossover collaborations with like movies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. They do. A lot of guest characters in these new games.
One of the characters they announced was the T-1000 from Terminator 2.
He was in the last one.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
There was a few other ones, but
Jason Voorhees was in the last one.
Oh, Ghostface from Scream is coming.
God. I'm kind of getting sick
They
of
do
this.
a lot with like horror characters.
Yeah. Jason Voorhees was in the last one. Freddy was in Mortal Kombat 9, which I refuse to call it Mortal Kombat. I hate that.
So yeah, Ghostface, Conan.
Okay.
Like Arnold Conan.
Yeah.
Is coming.
John Rambo was also in the last one, as well as Alien and Predator. I think they were in 10. And Leatherface.
Okay. And then these are the 3 characters. I don't know who these are. But they're the 3 returning.
Oh, those are the looks like female Cyrax and probably female Sector. And then that looks like Noob Saibot.
Okay.
Maybe has a new costume.
Okay.
I mean, they're doing a lot of weird... I saw that they had announced a bunch of male characters are getting, like, turned female. Yeah. And
so, it's Noob Saibot, Sector, and yeah, you guessed it exactly right.
So that character, Noob Saibot, everybody who's a Mortal Kombat fan knows this, but...
It said Boone backwards, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And John Tobias.
Oh, okay, yeah, Tobias is Saibot. Okay, gotcha.
And after Tobias left, for a couple games, his character was just named Noob.
Oh, wow, there's some bad blood for a minute there.
Yeah. And then they brought his name back.
Right.
But yeah, they're doing some weird female swaps of male characters.
They're going down that whole like multiverse rabbit hole with this game.
I'm not liking it.
Well, supposedly like only one character is the same character from like the original Mortal Kombat, and he like rebirthed the like Mortal Kombat universe effectively with this game. Yeah,
so that'd be Liu Kang, the main protagonist of the series.
Right.
In the last game, he got Kronika's crown, so he got control of time, and he became a fire god, Liu Kang. So he became an elder god.
Okay.
And then Raiden is no longer an elder god.
Okay.
And so he has control of time, and that's why.
Okay.
So it is a continuation.
In a way, it is.
But it is also a rebooted
right
timeline. I can respect that it's not just a straight, we're going to...
starting over.
And not explain how that happened.
Yeah.
But, there's also a lot of DC crap coming into Mortal Kombat, and I'm not liking that either. Like, what? So this is supposed to take place, like, in the age of the Great Kung Lao, which is, like, 100 years before Liu Kang's time.
Yeah.
So it's like ancient China.
Yeah.
Why do we have superheroes?
They do a lot of crossovers, and not everybody likes that.
No.
And like for example, the mainline Street Fighter games, as far as I'm aware, outside of maybe other Capcom games, have not had third-party guest characters before. Mm-hmm. Now, there have been crossover Street Fighter games that have done all kinds of guest characters.
Right. Stuff. Marvel versus Capcom and stuff like that. Yeah.
But, and we're a little off topic. Sorry, Capcom. We'll get back to you in a second.
Well, we are getting back to Capcom.
We're talking about Capcom right now. They did announce that Terry Bogard is coming to Street Fighter 6 at EVO this year. That's the first time they've ever kind of broken that rule.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's fine. They're trying something new.
Yeah.
They're not inundating their franchise with like guest characters from movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think, I don't know. I would be okay. Kratos was a guest character in Mortal Kombat 9, and I loved that.
It fit.
It fit perfectly. His attitude was very Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He talked about how he's gonna rip you up. Like. It was perfect, and he's a game character, and he's a PlayStation character. He was exclusive for the PS3 version. It was just great. It was a great move.
Yeah.
That's how you do a guest character.
Now, what I wonder is when they do these guest characters, like in Mortal Kombat, for example, does the story mode get like continued or updated, or is it typically they're just kind of like cameo, standalone sort of things that don't really exist within the story? And they're just playable.
Right. So they have their own ladder ending that ties into the Mortal Kombat universe.
Okay. So,
but they don't have a lasting impact on the ongoing, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So they do have, like, they're both. They have a cameo type of presence, but they also do. Like when Link was in Soul Calibur 2, the way they tied him into the Soul Calibur universe I loved it. But that was also, like, the first time I had seen something like that.
Yeah.
But he didn't have like some long-lasting effect on.
Of course not. Yeah.
But it was great.
All right, we ready for this next question?
Yeah, let me read this one.
Yeah. I thought you did it all. Oh, you want to read this one particularly?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go twice in a row just because this one I put in there.
Rick's very passionate about this next topic.
Yeah. Well, I'm passionate about this whole like shareholder meeting. I know. Like, the things that interest me.
Let's go.
Okay. So, one big brain shareholder asked this question. And I can't believe the way this question's phrased. We'll get into that. You've submitted a female candidate for external director. However, all of your internal directors are male. Please tell me what you are doing to increase the ratio of female managers internally.
All right, real quick, let's define what an external director would be and what an internal director would be.
Sure.
So I believe an external director is someone who works at Capcom that's working with a third-party company to make a video game.
Yes.
And so they're an external director. They work for Capcom. They're managing. They're directing the game.
They are the rep who the liaison between them and like a third-party developer or something like that.
Whereas an internal director is actually managing a team made up of Capcom employees.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the question. What's the answer?
So, well, let's talk about the question real quick.
Okay.
All right. So, the way that it's phrased is just like it's implied that that's what needs to happen. Like, please tell me what you're doing to increase the ratio of female managers internally. What does that have to do with raising the share price? What does that have to do with like actual?
I thought about this a little bit. And the only thing I could really think of is that I think there was a Capcom survey earlier this year that we talked about, where the majority of Capcom gamers
that comes up later,
are men.
Yeah.
Like Capcom knows that, and so I could maybe see this shareholder. This probably isn't the angle they're coming at it from, but if there was a good angle to ask this question from, it's like, hey, you're ignoring half the planet. They have money too.
Right, but are they though? I think Capcom's more just making the games they want to make, and who they appeal to is who they appeal to. A girl can play Capcom games.
Sure, 100%. 100%. And they do.
Yeah,
they do.
It's just that it's less of, it's not what, I don't know, it's not what appeals to them, but should they be forced? Like,
I don't know if a
like,
woman would be better at making a game for women and men are better at making games for men.
Yeah, sure.
I mean...
But, I mean, forcing a change in identity on Capcom... I mean, I don't know. I felt like this question could have been worded like, you know, this report came out. Do you have any vision for, you know, in response to this demographic, you know, research? But no, it's, please tell me what you're doing to increase the ratio of female man. Well, like they need to. Like it's implied that they need to do that.
Let's keep in mind that this is some Japanese translator provided this official translation.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
So sometimes it can be very matter of fact, like the wording and stuff.
Right.
So we didn't see a video of someone like
there is a
pounding their fist and being like, "I demand to know."
Right.
Why are there not more female managers?
Right.
Or directors? But I'm curious, what did they say?
Sure. So, regarding diversity of our board of directors, we select director candidates who are able to oversee management of the company and offer appropriate advice, while considering the skills and characteristics required in accordance with our management strategy, and the balance of each individual's career history, insight, and experience. Also note that while our internal directors are currently all male, in addition to women, going forward, we will also consider non-Japanese directors.
That's interesting.
And regarding female managers, currently 21.2% of employees are female, and 13.6% of our core talent is female. We are aiming to bring the... you can see that in their work. You can see the female artist influence, I feel like, in Street Fighter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We are aiming to bring the percentage of female managers up to 15%. Looking ahead, we believe we will be able to see more female directors by broadening our scope and increasing the ratio of female managers.
You know, I'm going to say something maybe controversial here.
Sure.
You know, a lot of people meet their spouses at work.
Yeah.
Japan has like a big population decline problem. You know, it's Capcom's national duty to help, you know, Japan thrive. And so, you know, maybe having a better ratio at work.
That's a weird angle to look at this. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't know why that occurred to me.
No, you're right. You have a point. I don't know if that has...
Because, I mean, like, it sounds like a sausage fest at Capcom.
Well...
Only 13% overall.
21.2% of employees are female.
No, managers.
No, that says...
It says 13% of core talent.
No.
Oh, wait, what is...
It says 21.2% of all employees are female.
All right, 13% 6 of, I guess, game development
talent.
Okay,
yeah.
So...
But still... I mean, you have 21.2% of women walking around.
Right.
So it's, you know...
But, I mean, that might be in the, like... the office area, you know, where they're doing like marketing.
You're making a lot of assumptions here. I think it's just throughout.
Okay.
But
well, in the game development floors,
it's 13%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, you have to be someone special to get into the core talent teams.
Yeah.
Male or female.
Right. I mean, and let's be honest, it's only become more acceptable for women to be like interested in games, playing games in like the last decade or so.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow process for them to...
It's always been a boys' club for the longest time. It still is in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, but I've never seen it as a forced boys' club.
No.
And I don't...
I mean, not forced, maybe like societal norms kind of made it a forced thing. But it's never like, hey, we're only here... Like, this is, you know, the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I don't think that, like, game studios would ever not want women working there. I think a lot of them would love to have women working there. Anyways, you want to read the next question?
Yes, I'm excited about this question. This is, like, the one thing that gave me,
that you, like...
Like, this is the question I originally heard answered as, like, a standalone story that led me to, like, there's a whole huge Q&A.
That's why I'm giving it to you.
So here's the question. The ratio of physical game sales is decreasing as end users' need for digital is increasing. What is your outlook on physical games and the company's policy regarding this? Okay, first I just want to address this question. The end user's need for digital is increasing. No, that is all forced upon us by the actions of publishers.
I feel like with a lot of this stuff, there is a lot of narrative play happening.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of word games are being played.
Definitely.
With language. And a lot of these questions, not just this one. But yeah, that's word games. That's language games. The user's need. We know it's their need because sales.
Right.
We know that,
we've limited their options elsewhere.
Right.
So now most people feel like
we forced it on them and they're buying it.
Yeah.
So that means they need it.
Yeah. But Capcom gave a pretty reassuring answer, at least for us physical gamers.
Yeah.
Although their actions kind of say a different thing.
Right.
But here's what they said. Given that a significant number of end users demand physical games, we currently do not expect to eliminate physical products.
I love that answer.
And that's the end.
And the so we know from this that these companies know.
Yeah.
They know.
They know that we're out there in their Twitter replies being like, we want physical.
Right.
We want physical.
So they can never, ever use the excuse that they didn't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's both a positive thing to see them acknowledge. Well, it's definitely a positive thing to see Capcom acknowledge that. And we have heard similar things recently from other companies.
Yeah.
Was it the guy from EA said something like he doesn't see it ever going away?
Yeah. But here's where I say, like, well, you say this, Capcom, but then your actions kind of say another thing.
That's true.
On one hand, they just released Monster Hunter Stories 1 and 2 collection.
Yeah.
In the Americas, it's only on Switch.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's only on PS4.
And they couldn't put the second game on disc.
Right. And in Japan, it's only on Switch.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. Okay, and then the upcoming Ace Attorney Investigations collection in the U.S., again, only on Switch, and in Europe, only on PS4 physically, and in Japan, they get both there.
Yeah.
And then they just recently...
And there more.
Yeah, they just put out a brand new game like a week ago, and it's digital only, period.
Yeah.
It's like Path of the Goddess is what it's called.
And there's more. Like, they'll release an Ace Attorney game in Japan and then bring it over here digital only.
Yeah, that was the first Ace Attorney collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never got that physically here.
And it's just...
And now, but they've released all the other collections physically.
They did it with the Ace Attorney, the 3D Ace Attorney on 3DS.
Yeah, that was digital only. Ace Attorney became digital only for a while here in the West.
Yeah. So there are, like, entire installments that I think only recently got a physical release.
You're exactly right.
Which is just...
I mean, at least it's happening.
Right.
No,
it's true. It's true. And
like I can import the PS4 version.
Right.
You know?
If all we have is their word, at least they are acknowledging. They could have said, no, screw physical.
Yeah.
You know, there's no money there.
Yeah.
You know, we're on our, like Square Enix.
Yeah.
We're on our way to a digital-only future.
They're like gung-ho about it.
Yeah, which is sad.
Anyway, yeah, it's good to see Capcom be like, no, we're still going to keep making physical games.
And acknowledging us.
Like, there's demand and fervor for it.
Right.
You know, it's not like we're just doing
they
it out of,
They
like...
use the word demand.
Yeah.
Which is great. They understand that. Okay, so next question.
We got to start plowing through these.
Yeah, we got a ways to go. Street Fighter 6 was released last year and requires hardware such as a gaming PC or PS5. And since the price of home video game consoles has drastically increased, it follows that only wealthy consumers... Oh my god, this is such an out-of-touch question.
Yeah.
It follows that only wealthy consumers can purchase it. In the past, it was possible to enjoy these sorts of games in arcades. What approach are you taking to grow your user base of younger people globally?
See, I thought this question was going to go, why aren't you putting these games on phones?
Right.
And I'm like, bro, phones cost more than PS5s.
Yeah.
But he comes at it from an arcade angle, which I do think is kind of interesting.
Which is the reason I put it in here.
Yeah.
So Capcom's answer is kind of nice. As we are in the business of selling video game software, we will refrain from commenting on the price of hardware. That's a great answer from Capcom. Regarding game software, we are working to capture new users globally by offering our catalog of past games at affordable prices, among other methods. I love this part. We are also working to expand arcade games in stores in our arcade operations business, as well as in other company stores. So Capcom still on the arcade wagon. You know, I don't know if you know this, but Capcom has a console that they have released in the past.
Okay.
It's like Super Gun technology, similar to how a Neo Geo console is.
Okay.
But the boards are in cartridge format, and they are proprietary.
Okay.
The console is called the Capcom CPS Changer.
Okay.
And the unit itself is actually like this little thing, and the cartridge is this massive thing. So most of the console is actually the game.
Okay.
I think there were 11 titles released on it. You could only buy it in Japan, mail order only.
Oh wow.
It's rare. I saw one pass on eBay because I watched these kind of obscure consoles a lot. One sold on eBay for $4,000. Just the little
the little thing. Yeah, no cartridges.
Exactly. The games are $500, $600.
Oh, wow.
But anyways, yeah, so Capcom actually has a console that brought arcade technology home. Similar again to Neo Geo. Side note. All right, you want the next question?
Sure. It says, you launched Street Fighter 6 last year and have reported unit sales for the base game. However, what about unit sales for DLC? So like the download characters and things like that. Mm-hmm. Also, with respect to net sales for DLC, tell me about how much profit is being made in contrast to the annual cost of maintaining the Street Fighter 6 team. Wow, this the shareholders going after them. Mm-hmm. Is like, hey, you got a whole team working on this. Are you still making enough money for me?
Yeah.
Or are we losing money on Street Fighter 6?
Yeah.
This is what Capcom says. They said, we have not disclosed the cost and profit related to individual titles before, and as such, I would ask for your understanding as we are unable to provide an answer with the specifics in this case as well. In the previous fiscal year, Street Fighter 6 significantly contributed to profit. In providing DLC, our objective is for players to enjoy their purchases for a long period of time, which we hope leads to increased user satisfaction. We believe that players enjoying games for longer periods of time connects to stable reviews from the market and capturing new players, and as such is helpful in strengthening our brands. So yeah, it's the reason why you do it. It keeps the brand strong.
Yep.
People are still playing it, so they're still telling their friends to get into it.
Yep.
It just keeps it in the conversation.
Right.
Yeah. Rather than getting a Street Fighter game once every 10 years, now you're getting new bits of Street Fighter forever.
Right.
And then a new game.
I don't know. I agree with everything you're saying. I would prefer that they did more physical releases because all this DLC stuff is digital only.
Well, so Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 all had Super Turbo, Mega.
That's true. Yeah, they all have variants with all the DLC.
That over time combine everything into
Tournament
a single
edition,
packet.
Gold edition.
So I fully expect probably next year there will be a new edition of Street Fighter 6 that has some of the stuff baked in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another thing, this answer, you see this with a lot of these answers. I really love how Capcom isn't just sweet talking these shareholders. They're not. They're not just telling the shareholders, oh yeah, our share price, we're getting it up, and just talking about we're going to push more of this and we're going to cut down on that because it's costing too much. They're saying, our players throughout a lot of these answers, and whether they act on it or not, the narrative it almost feels like it's not in their interest in this meeting, but their narrative is really user friendly, or consumer friendly, I should say.
Yeah.
Which
feels that way.
Is pretty refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt EA is having this attitude at their shareholder meeting.
No.
So, yeah, I just want to point that out. You have announced Monster Hunter Wilds for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC, but not for portable platforms like the Nintendo Switch. Will this game be limited to these non-portable consoles?
I mean, that's a good question because Japan
loves handheld
portables. Yeah, like the Nintendo Switch is king in Japan.
Yeah, right.
Like so far and above beyond what any Xbox and PS5 sales have done in the country.
Right.
But at the same time, this game can't run on PS or on Nintendo Switch.
So let me talk about their answer because they actually touch on that. One concept we've incorporated into this title is aiming to portray the maximum of the world of Monster Hunter by utilizing the latest technology to its limit. To that end, I mean, that's a great statement. Mm-hmm. We couldn't word that better. To that end, that's like a commercial. To that end, the platforms capable of realizing that concept are currently the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X/S, and PC. Going forward, we will provide more thorough details regarding these concepts and themes when we release information on the game. We hope you look forward to it.
I mean, there is no way that they're skipping... This game has to be coming to the second-day Nintendo Switch.
I mean, I could see a watered-down version with a subtitle or something. You know?
I mean, I just think it just probably doesn't run at like a high frames per second.
Right.
You know, you cap it at 30.
Yeah, it would be a stupid move financially.
Because these new Monster Hunter games are having, like, finally they're doing crossplay, like multi-platform crossplay.
Right.
So, like, you can't do the Switch version without also, or the Switch 2 version without also incorporating that.
Right. And you know what? Now that you've freaking mentioned that, I guarantee I know exactly what's going on with this answer. They are dodging the question because they can't talk about it literally because they're developing it for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Promise.
Yeah. That's a lock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monster Hunter plus portable plus Japan equals gajillions of dollars.
Yeah. And
for Capcom.
They're probably targeting like early Switch 2.
Yeah.
With that game.
I would not be shocked when they do like the Switch 2 showcase that this game is there, like in some sizzle reel trailer.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be like up front.
Yeah.
You want this next question? It's a good one.
Sure. Please tell me what please tell me what plans you have for the Mega Man series. Mega Man? Haven't seen a new game since 11 came out, like 2019, I think it was.
Yep.
So good question.
Yeah.
Answer. Well, okay, we did get the Mega Man Battle Network collection earlier this year.
Yeah, that's not quite the same thing.
I agree, but it is still like, hey, those games are beloved GBA games.
It's still, hey, this franchise is still alive.
Yeah. And that is sort of like a spin-off of Mega Man.
Yeah.
So they said, Mega Man is one of our highly valued IPs, and we are considering how to create games for it on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, kind of a non-answer, but the important thing is that it was brought up by a shareholder.
Yeah.
That's good to see.
Yeah, in case you guys forgot, you made Mega Man games, or you used to.
You remember Mega Man?
You guys used to put out a Mega Man game like every 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, bless the shareholder for bringing it up, even if... and, I mean, Capcom's answer basically implies that they know that they have Mega Man. Yeah. And it's not forgotten.
We have another similar question.
Yeah, another similar question. Tell me what plans you have for titles like Toroware no Paruma and Ace Attorney Investigations.
Okay, what the heck is
I gotcha. So it is a dating romance visual novel that Capcom put out in 2016 for the Switch. Oh. And it is so obscure that I don't even think it has a Wikipedia page. Really good art. The art is great.
It's a mobile game as well as a Switch game.
You're right.
Yeah, so its appeal is definitely more likely to appeal to the female gamer.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an otome game is what they call them.
Right. So it's that's what it is. It is an obscure title. It's a Japan only.
Okay.
And this question is like, the shareholder is trying to ask about the most basically just obscure, off mainstream stuff, deep cuts he can think of, is kind of what I get from that. Their answer: we will continue to consider future projects for these titles so that a wide range of players can enjoy them around the world.
Well, they'd have to start by localizing Toraware no Paruma.
Yeah, they would.
There's actually a huge market over here for Otome games. Axis Games, AKSYS, they basically have pivoted their business completely around Otome games now, localizing them for Western audiences.
Yeah, the hunger for them, the appetite for them is growing in the West, and Japan knows this.
Yeah,
obviously.
There's more dating sims designed around attracting female gamers than there are dating sims for male gamers. Significantly.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
I have seen that. KFC released one where you woo the Colonel.
Yeah, it's like a promo.
Yeah,
kind of like that Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
I mean, we talked about Burger King games last week, but
Yeah.
You love to see it, and that's pretty out there. Like that's not.
Oh, you add that to your collection before that gets delisted on Steam for sure.
Yeah.
All right, you got this one?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Will the results of the Capcom Super Elections influence what titles you develop in the future? I would like you to consider releasing new titles in popular series, not just remakes of existing games.
So the Super Elections, I believe, are those polls that we
were talking about a couple months ago, So Capcom said, we value all of our IPs and are thinking of ways to utilize them not only in games, but in other media as well. As games, we think the gameplay and specific appeal that an IP holds are important, and we take a multifaceted approach to our games, including not only new titles and remakes, but also ports and collections as well. Going forward, we will continue to consider how to leverage our IPs, working so that a wide range of players can enjoy these games worldwide. Thank you for your valuable opinion.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention briefly, Capcom said that in the meeting that a video would be made available for this shareholder meeting via their website on June 25th.
July.
Oh, sorry. July 25th. Forgot what month it is.
Next year, everyone. Look forward to that video.
I wasn't able to find the video, but I didn't look all that hard. I just looked around the pages that talked about the meeting.
But maybe you can get to that question that...
What?
The question about the female
managers. Yeah, and I can...
You can see the person.
It's some, angry woman pounding her fist.
Or not.
Or not. But anyway, so the day before that Capcom shareholder meeting video went on their website, something else happened. PC indie game publisher Humble Games laid off all 36 of its staff on the 24th due to a quote-unquote restructuring at the company. Yeah. So a PR rep for Humble Games told Engadget that the company would not be shutting its doors as a result of basically laying off 100% of its staff.
How are they not closed but have no employees?
Maybe I don't understand it all. Maybe there's some details we don't have.
They're just going to have someone else do it, I guess, instead of the 36 people who were doing it.
I don't know, but I can tell you that Humble is... Humble Bundle and Humble Games are two different sides of the same company.
Yeah.
And one's a publisher and one's a platform.
Right, so Humble Bundle is owned by IGN.
I'll get there. I'll get there.
I'll get there. Okay.
Humble Games first posted their announcement of this layoff on their LinkedIn. In these challenging economic times for indie games publishing, Humble Games has made the difficult but necessary decision to restructure our operations. This decision was not made lightly. Of course it wasn't.
No.
It involved much deliberation and careful thought, which with the goal of ensuring the stability and support of our developers and ongoing projects. Additionally, the restructuring of operations at Humble Games will have no impact on operations at Humble Bundle. We are actually We are acutely aware of the profound impact this decision has on our team members at Humble Games, and deeply empathize with everyone affected. Our team's contributions have been world-class and invaluable to supporting the launch of our games since we started publishing in 2017. Humble Bundle is way older than that, just as a side note. We are committed to navigating this transition with as much empathy and understanding as possible. Supporting our development partners and assisting former team members remains our top priority. We are committed to making this transition as smooth as possible for everyone involved. Thank you for your support and compassion during this challenging period. It is deeply appreciated. Humble Games on LinkedIn.
So, okay, not only are the employees affected, but there are small indie game devs that have signed games.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to get to it, but I'll just jump ahead a little bit. They did address that, and they made the statement that upcoming and ongoing projects will continue to be supported.
Okay, so
they're probably just not signing new ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then eventually they'll probably just wind down operations completely.
I guess that's what restructure means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they're probably gonna finish their pipeline and then probably close the publishing wing of Humble. Yeah. That's what I get from all this. It's also been noted that this post did not reveal the number of layoffs, and that information only broke after its former employees started posting online. One such former employee is producer Kenny Schwartz, who posted to LinkedIn after having been notified of his layoff. And I have his post. Like most of Humble Games today, I was notified that we were being laid off this morning. As much of a bummer as it is to be in this position, I still appreciate that it's been an amazing experience to work with so many wonderful and talented people. If you know any producer positions, I'd be happy to hear about those opportunities. I also know a bunch of very strong candidates in QA, release management, branding, and marketing that are looking for work. So if you're looking for those positions, I'd be happy to point you to some great, hardworking people. I included his post. There were other former employees' posts that I saw on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn that I didn't include because they were a little more inflammatory.
Sure.
Toward.
I mean, people tensions are going to be high.
Yeah.
People are gonna be upset.
There's people's livelihood, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And working in the games industry is often kind of seen as a like your dream job.
Yeah.
And even if you are working in QA or whatever, it usually is like for a lot of people. For some people, I'm sure it is just a job, but I'm sure for most, it was a dream. Yeah, initially. A passion job.
Yeah. I mean, now just with the way the industry has been and how it treats its employees, I feel like now to be I want to go work for a game company. Yeah. That has to you have to be insane to want that now.
And you know what? That's probably a precursor to a long-lasting effect that's going to have a massive impact.
Unless you're your own boss, I probably wouldn't get into the games industry.
Unless you're a solo dev or a
very small team,
the head of a small team.
It just sounds, it's just too crazy. How does anyone, and these people move around constantly. How do you do that to your family?
You relocated to different countries and stuff.
Just even moving around the United States
or
would be
just
a lot.
Constantly having to go to Japan for 2 weeks is a lot of stress for your family.
Well, I wouldn't mind that.
And I'm sure you wouldn't, but if you had kids, it might be a little bit more of a burden. But the what was I going to say? The narrative, people know this. What you're saying, people know it. The job market knows, don't go into games right now. And that's going to be the narrative for a while, even if the industry starts to get better and starts to heal and self-correct.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this effect is going to go on longer than that, where people aren't going to be applying for the games industry anymore because it's just, you don't do that, because it's too volatile, even after it stops being
Or you got to
volatile.
start looking at every job you get in the games industry as contract work.
Yeah.
Even if you're an employee.
A temporary opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to pad your, bump up your resume, get some experience. And
it always has been that, I feel like, to a degree. But right now it's like lay off, relocate, lay off, buy out, and it's crazy. Anyways, Humble Games, you brought up, or I brought up, or whatever. Humble Games is the publishing arm of the charity PC game storefront Humble Bundle, who is said to be unaffected by the restructure, according to the announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Both companies are owned by Ziff Davis, which is the same holding company that owns IGN, as you mentioned, along with Eurogamer and Games Industry Biz,
who they recently acquired earlier this year.
Yep, that's right. And we covered it.
Yep.
So I have a personal story about Humble Bundle that I just wanted to share briefly.
Okay.
So the first year that I had gone to PAX was the year before you and I went to PAX.
Okay, so 2010.
Right. I was a senior in college. Yeah, I graduated in 2011. So yeah, I was a senior in college.
Okay.
And I went with people from my college. At that PAX, Humble had a panel. Okay. And they had just launched. And it was the two founders talking about basically the angle of their presentation was to incorporate charity in your sales model, in your marketing, and how it was working for them. And they described we launched this site, we wanted to host games, but we wanted to have a charity option for people. And what they did was, you can pay whatever you want. Mm-hmm. You can buy a bunch of games and give them a penny.
Right.
And their justification for this is that they're digital goods. They're not being stolen from
anything.
Yeah, exactly.
A penny is still more than nothing.
Right. And these are all indie games.
Right.
They're not I'm sure Capcom would have a problem with that. If they were letting their games go for a penny.
I mean, their business model is a little different now. They have minimums sometimes for some bundles and things like that.
Right. Yeah. And that was bound to happen.
Yeah.
At some point. But when they first started, it was you'd pay any price you want, and you had a slider determining how much went to charity, how much went to Humble, and how much went to the developer.
Right.
So a pretty interesting concept that worked for that time.
Yeah.
And it worked really well for the time. But yeah, it was those two guys talking about Humble and introducing. That was my first introduction to Humble Bundle. And it made me think, more at the time, not so much now, about how charity would factor into selling games.
I mean, it reminds me somewhat of Itch having a name your own price option.
Right.
And most people are not going to take it for free or take it for pennies. You know? Most people are going to see your thing and be like, "Oh, I'll throw you $5 or $10."
And that's one point that they made during that panel. They said, when you give people the option
to do it for free, it's it almost makes you feel guilty if you were to take it for free.
Exactly, because now you're choosing. And so they said some people will pay you a penny, but a lot of people are going to overpay.
Yeah.
Because they are grateful.
Right. Or they're getting 10 games,
Right, exactly. So yeah, that was a great experience. I got to meet those guys, and it saddens me personally that this is happening. Although I don't care as much about Humble Games as I do about Humble Bundle. I would be extremely sad if Humble Bundle
Humble Games, they're help making indie devs' dreams come true.
Yeah, they're one of several publishers doing that.
Yeah.
It's
not
a sad
good
thing
to have one less people doing
It's not.
that.
And it sucks that this is happening to a company in the indie space.
Yeah, I would figure you of all people would be.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Okay.
This is bad news to me.
Right.
But I am relieved to hear that Humble Bundle is going to still
unaffected.
be around. Yeah. Because that is as an indie developer,
right, you could sell your game there.
Yeah, that's like a platform I'd be losing potentially, and it's one of the few 9 or so PC platforms that focuses on indie games.
Yep.
Itch being another one. Anyways, that's my story about them. So just as an end of the day last thought here, the same train of layoffs we've been talking about for the entirety of this podcast, which began months before episode 001, continues strong in July 2024, and no end in sight and transmission.